Part two. Welcome back to the part two of the Market Open live stream. All right, let's get back to where we were. So Dogecoin, tried to push up again here late on Cinco de Mayo. Tried to push back to 65 cents and did consolidate again. Be bobbing around the sort of like 59 to 61, 62 area here. It's gonna be really fascinating to me to see what happens on SNL night. Hey, look, if there's a big announcement on SNL night, that's gonna be huge. All right, so what else do we have here? We've got a Penn Gaming is down to 86. We've got Tilray down again. Uber down to 49. Upstart down to 94. Pfizer's going to the downside as well, down about 3.5%. Lemonade's under 80. There it is. Ooh, that's looking really juicy. We got Shift. Shift is at down 2.94%. We got Pinterest almost under 60. Nasdaq down for fifth day in a row. Nasdaq's getting crushed. What else do we have? We got GoPro's down a bit, Teladoc's down, Purple's down. Beyond Meat. Where's Beyond Meat? Beyond Meat's at 119. Oh, there's so many things that are juicy right now. Honest Co. First day after IPO. Welcome to the red market. Oh, jeez. Palantir's such a wonderful company. Also sitting at 20.8. Roblox. Well, let's see here. It's kind of hard to see because it keeps moving so much. Roblox is somewhere around down 1%. Churchill Capital is down about 0.5%. We have a Tattooed Chef also sitting down about 1/3%. Walgreens down 1/3%. Nvidia is down about 1/4. We got, what else do we have here? Tesla. Tesla's kind of selling off a little bit. It was up higher. Oh, there we go. Yeah. See, it was higher in the pre-market. Dipping even more here. We got Wayfair. Wayfair bounced. So Wayfair had a nice bounce of about 7% here. But otherwise, lots of red again. Maybe I still got about those, actually probably 2 to 3 pages of green. But the green's not super green. Oh, well, Tesla just bounced. Tesla just went back to 1.2%. So not a lot of super green, but definitely a lot of red. Let's listen to the NASDAQ talk over here, and then we're going to pull up treasuries too.
Maybe we're just fuddy-duddies.
Oh, no, not maybe. We are.
We're in a weird era, Jim, where SNL is potentially a market event for at least one asset class. We'll see. We'll see what happens on Saturday night. I not talk to anybody who has any clue about what's going on or what will happen on Saturday.
But
Jim,
Carl,
you mentioned the cruise lines earlier.
Should we go to the rehearsal?
Yes.
I wonder if he's showing up for
At
a rehearsal.
10:30, yes.
Yeah.
Norwegian, Jim, is basically flat. Revenue down 99%.
Yeah.
You don't see that too often. A total of $3 million. And they do see a quarterly loss this quarter.
Yeah, I mean, Frank Del Rio, who's done such FDR, as I call him, has done such a great job in staying afloat. But then people say, well, wait a second, he makes a lot of money. He has GE-like salary, David. I know you care about that. But they're not getting any help from the CDC. And a lot of people feel that if you're really going to make it so that it doesn't matter if you treat guests who are vaccinated the same way that you don't, which is the CDC's perspective, well, forget it. There's really nothing they can do. I just think that the government or the CDC would like to put these guys out of business. I really believe that.
Why? That sounds. I mean, they don't want to put them out of business.
I think they've watched that documentary too many times. Documentary on the Carnival cruise one.
Yeah, and they've just decided nobody should be able to cruise anymore.
Well, I think that was a suboptimal depiction of the industry.
It was.
It's kind of rough, honestly, for the cruise industry. I really do think the cruise industry, there should be a way to get that to reopen. I mean, it's look, if you can have restaurants and airplanes open, I don't know that there's a reason you can't have what is it called? Good old filtration on cruise ships and keep moving on. Well, I don't know. Call me crazy, but those are some of the thoughts I have. Well, one thing I know for sure, there's plenty of ventilation on cruise ships. Open up some windows and go to go to the hot areas. You know, I mean, it's May, so I mean, you should have warm areas in many different areas. But you know, I don't know that I want to go to like super cold places on a cruise if I need lots of ventilation. But like, at least get our like Caribbean cruises going. I don't know. That's a thought I have. I've never been on a cruise. Is it worth it? Cruises are awesome. Honestly, probably one of my favorite way to travel. Mostly because there's no travel. Like you go to all these different destinations, but you ain't doing anything. All you do is eat and some other things. Anyway, take a look at the 10-year Treasury here. It's at 1.576. It is kind of stable right now, bobbing around that you know, just sub 1.6 level here. Still on that downtrend. You know what I want to start doing is I also want to start looking at the 10-year or the 30-year. We haven't done that before. Let's take a beat. So we're going to look at it a little bit longer. And the reason we're going to do that is yesterday, and usually the 10 years is an indicator for looking at this too. But the reason for this, I'm going to tell you exactly. I made a video on this yesterday about inflation. Highly encourage you to watch it. Good video about some of the history of inflation and what that could mean for expectations. But we had Chicago Fed President Charles Evans. One of the things he said is, I would not be concerned about high inflation or persistently high inflation versus high inflation now, persistent high inflation, would not be concerned unless there were outsized movements in pricing of financial market pricing at longer maturities. In other words, the 10 or the 30-year Treasury bond. And so what they're really saying is, I would not be concerned about long tail inflation, is what the Fed is saying. And I know it's the Fed. You know, take it for a little bit of grain of salt. It is the Fed. What they're saying is, they wouldn't be concerned if, you know, the kind of trends we're seeing are flat or a downtrend, which is kind of what we're seeing right now. They'd be more concerned if they saw outsized movements, which to me, you know, a slope like this is not really outsized. I'd probably have to expect something to this effect, like a real explosion in yields. And it's so weird that despite all this panicking and news over supply shortages, we're just not seeing substantial movements in the Treasury market. We're just not. It's incredible. Anyway, what else do we have here? So we have Bitcoin at 57,400. Tesla pulling back down to 0.64. I'm still going to maintain that I think stocks are going to be on a negative trajectory probably until sometime July, August, September, October. More certainly September, October, but the bump could come sooner. But yeah, I think for the next few weeks to couple months, we are going to still be on this roller coaster of pain for certainly at least for tech and the PE stocks, the higher PE ones. Let's listen to the Gensler talk for a moment.
From his staff and publish a report. Well, this puts them on notice. The committee is now going to be expecting some kind of report from him in the middle of the summer about what exactly he's come to, what kind of conclusions he's come to. And I think some of the commentary is a little more aggressive than some people in the community had been anticipating. Finally, Carl, he mentions reviewing events for what he calls violations. Well, this tells me he's bringing in the enforcement division. These are the cops that are out there, and we may hear about some potential violations out there. Two things, Carl, didn't mention anything about ESG in there, nothing about Bitcoin as well. These are the other two big topics that are going to be front and center in his administration. Nothing in there, but Carl, I'm sure he'll be asked about it, and we'll be monitoring it. Back to you.
Bob, we'll rely on you for that. Our Bob Pisani. Bob, thanks. Obviously, we got productivity numbers this morning and a nice number on claims, relatively speaking. Let's get to Rick Santelli. Hey, Rick.
Hi, Carl. You're absolutely right. Now, granted, the under 500,000 initial claims of 498 is a good thing, but there was an upward revision from 553 to 590. And of course, many people that follow the moving averages of initial claims have pointed out that that makes this week sort of a wash, but it's still, if you look at the most recent read, the current rate of change under 500,000 is a good thing. If you look at an intraday chart of 10s, there wasn't a whole lot of movement, but we did start to climb afterwards. Now, you might be thinking, well, isn't that proof that the market liked the number? Well, productivity was good as well, as Carl mentioned. But I think one of the driving forces today in interest rates is the euro. Now, if you look at the 3-day of 10s here, what you need to pay attention to is if we start trading under 155, you're going to see some sell stops or buy stops because the price is going up, and that's going to trigger some activity. Now, back to Europe.
Okay, we're going to pull off the boons, and we just did to talk about the bonds. So let's go ahead and take a peek at the sticks again, and we'll also take a peek over at see what Bloomberg's talking about. But yeah, looking at the all stocks, things that are green, most things are modestly green that are of the things that are green. Seeing a little bit of that Peloton bounce, about 1%. Tesla about 0.9. You've got Wayfair's up 9%. This is one of those where I like it under 275. We had a couple days under 275, doing a nice big bounce back here, 9.51%. Well, let's see what kind of news there was here. And that was actually a bounce on earnings. It's incredible. We've got a beat on EPS. We had a beat on revenue. So they announced this morning. And let's see here. They must have probably also had a strong forecast because most things have been selling off after earnings. So good job, Wayfair. That's awesome. Another great company. On the flip side, you have accelerating losses over here. Redfin solely moving off. It feels like a potential downgrade from Wedbush by instead of a price target of 95 to 85. But otherwise, earnings were honestly, margins beat. We'll take a look at them in a moment, but I'm shocked too. But again, great earnings can lead to sell-off, kind of like the triple beat on Etsy. Etsy triple beat and had better guidance than expected for Q2, down 12%. Moderna down 9.2, EXPI down 8.6, Ocugen down 8, Cloudflare down 7. Lots. I mean, anything tech or multiple related, just getting compressed. Upstart at 94, Pinterest down 3%, Nano Dimension down 3.2, CRISPR down 2.87, Beyond Meat's at 118 now for Beyond Meat. Skills down again at 2.49%. Matterport sitting at 1165 stock price, 124 on Enphase. Palantir at 20.73. Xpeng's back to 27. This is one that ran to the mid 30s again briefly, just recently, and right back down. Roblox going right back down to IPO pricing. I want to see because a lot of these are also ARK funds, and so ARK, go to ARK K. ARK K, where's ARK K? Trying to find the darn thing. I have no idea where the darn thing is. All right. Oh, there it is. So RK is at 109. RK on the day chart has had a pretty rough last week here. It is not quite at what we saw at the March lows. That's one of the things I wanted to compare to is where are we relative to March lows? So March lows were around 106.5, 106.25. We've sort of been bobbing away and back to. It's been sort of an incredible roller coaster ride here. But really, this is significant of somewhere over here, November pricing. Really, everything's going back to November. It's almost like the suits are watching or a few too many Taylor Swift music videos, or was that back to December? I don't know. Back to December, November. I don't know, but it's one of those. That's where we're going. All right. So what else here? DocuSign, Walgreens. Yeah, these kind of accelerating as well. Some of these were down about 0.5%. Now we've even got Spirit down 1.28%, Walgreens down over 1%, Macy's down 0.75%. A lot of red. And what's really Disney's been sitting around as well at 181. What's really moving to the upside right now is BTX, momentum stock here. Wayfair, not as much as it was moving. Had a nice movement here. Yep, started red candlesticking as well a little bit. And otherwise, relatively low movement towards the green side. Volatility is up 2.4%. Let's go ahead and I want to go to Here, let's go to, I want to look one more time at the 10. 10 years pretty stable right now, 1.57. Let's also look at cryptos now. So we've got Bitcoin back at 57,500. That on a 30-minute chart is a little lower than what we've seen in a few hours in late yesterday. Almost at 3,500 again on Ethereum. We did touch 3,500 at midday yesterday, dropped back down, heading back to that 3,500 rubber band right now. Tesla bouncing around that mid 670s level. And where's Doge? Where's Doge today? Doge is at 59.5. Also slowly trending down a little bit here. We do have 2 days to go before our SNL skit. It's going to be a big one to watch. All right. Let's see what else we got over here. Let's see what we have. All right. Listening in. We got a TV commercial on Varnes. And now we're going to pop on over to Bloomberg. Let's see what Bloomberg has for us.
Chris Harvey there of Wells. For some of the sector price action, let's bring in our stocks editor, Dave Wilson, for more. Morning, Dave.
Good morning, John. Really sort of a mixed bag when you look at the 11 main industry groups in the S&P 500. No sort of consistent theme, though big tech really kind of not going much of anywhere in early trading.
Somebody's like, can you wake us up when September ends? Yes, no kidding. That really, this is one of those where it's like, just go away from the stock market, come back in September or October.
Among the 11 main industry groups, you have healthcare. And that's where you see the drug stocks falling, Pfizer specifically, in light of the decision by the Biden administration to support a waiver of patent protections on COVID-19 vaccines. I should point out, though, that all 9 drug makers in the S&P 500 are lower, and that's pushing down healthcare as much as anything. You know, we had results out of the animal health company Zoetis, and if you looked at the figures, you'd say, okay, great. Earnings, revenue beating estimates, company raising forecast, shares are down anyway. It's really kind of been feast or famine for the S&P 500 Pharmaceuticals Index, which set a record back in January, pulled back. It's been trying to get back to its January high, failed last month. Last week down every day, had been up in the first 3 days of this week. Today it's lower, so perhaps another failed attempt to move beyond where it was early this year.
Dave Wilson, our stocks editor at the Market Desk. Dave, good to catch up. Thank you, sir. Coming up, the market moving events you need to be watching. That'll be next in our trading diary as we count you down towards payrolls Friday as we look for
tomorrow.
A massive number. Your median estimate on the Bloomberg terminal right now, 1 million. This is Bloomberg.
It's going to be big. It's going to be a big morning for unemployment data, which will also have big implications for certainly inflation. If we get a massive move to the downside, keep in mind the Fed looks to unemployment as one of their mandates: stable prices, maximum employment. If we get to maximum employment much faster than people expect, we're going to see inflation move up or inflation expectations move up, which will demonstrate themselves in the 10-year and the other Treasury bonds, and then everything else will move up on top of that. But that's going to be something to pay attention to. That's going to move? It could move the Treasury market big tomorrow, and then a big movement in the Treasury market could obviously also translate to a move in the stock market. Not always, but we'll see. A quick reminder that Kevin O'Leary will be roasting me on a CNBC Make It at 9 a.m. So at 9 a.m., you want to take a peek at CNBC Make It for a Kevin O'Leary roast. So that should definitely be entertaining. Love getting roasted. It'd be more fun to get roasted when the market's going up than when the market's going down. But you don't get to choose. All right. So what do we got over here? Cryptocurrency deal. Let's listen in.
It does feel like that in that respect, in the cryptos. The general manager of the Bills says he would consider cutting unvaccinated players if it meant they could lift restrictions. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's a little harsh. There's a lot of vaccine hesitancy out there because they don't know, any of us know what's going to happen downstream and if there will be some long-term effects or if it's even going to be effective against some of these variants. But the NFL lost a lot of money last season because fans were not able to be in attendance because they had some stoppages and lost a lot of players, at least work time to coronavirus protocols. If you test positive, you're out for 14 days. And in any anyone that's contact traced next to them or is also out for an extended period of time. And so
we're going to pull off the COVID talk here with the NFL. Let's listen to CNBC instead.
Rocket Companies is a very good company, and it's the leader in mortgages. But they talked about pricing, partner channel pricing, not that good. But what I really feel is that they want to dominate. And when you want to dominate, maybe you have to cut margins. Now, should this stock be down as much? I think a lot of people were saying, you know what? It's too risky. So we are getting number cuts. By the way, one that I'm actually thrilled is going up a little is Peloton. Give you 2 point here. John Foley is doing everything he can. They will come out to your house at your convenience, retrieve your tread, and give you a full refund. And I don't know, how could you do better than that? And my hat's off to John Foley, who really is. I mean, everyone loves the treadmill. I mean, I know there's issues, but Carl, I think John Foley's the real deal. And I think that they're going to survive this, even though a lot of people feel it's too expensive. They'll come out on the other side.
Yeah, I didn't quite get to 80 this morning, 80 and a half. And Bear did say to buy the dip yesterday. We're going to watch Peloton for sure, Jim, and you'll have the numbers to kick around along with pizza, right?
Pizza it's become the food. And remember, that's the little guy that there's 150,000 restaurants that went under, and a lot of them are pizza places. They didn't have the technology. And you remember,
it's a good point.
Too. I want to be in Rob Lynch's position because you want to be a seller of pizza right now, not a buyer of pizza.
I just love
Great show, guys, and thank you again for last night.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I do wonder, though, how over pizza are people after pizza for a COVID year, you know? I don't know. Well, then again, search term for pizza has been flat for the last year, so maybe not. Yeah, it's actually, I mean, people searching pizza hasn't changed at all. Wow. Let's try like Domino's. Like if you order Domino's, maybe you type it into it. Yeah, wow. Pizza searches are just, it's not something that that shows a big sort of industry movement. But the sales have been through the roof. I guess it's just maybe not search trends. Papa John's, if anything, sort of on the downtrend here a little bit. Fascinating. All right, so they're on commercial. CNBC's on commercial. We got tacos and sushi. Sushi yesterday. Sushi's great. The cool thing about sushi is it doesn't get cold on its way over, which is like really annoying when you order like Cheesecake Factory food and then it comes and it's all like kind of cold. It's kind of really annoying. So that's the worst part about ordering food. But anyway, so yeah, market seems to be pushing a little bit more to the downside here. Let's take a look at the SPY. We're on the 1 minute here for the SPY. Yeah, we had a little bit of a temporary run here, but moving towards the downside again here. SPY down about 0.16%. We got the Dow Jones Industrial. Well, let's see. I'll just do DJI. I don't know why they make it so difficult on Webull to just get the indices. So we'll just do it to cheat. We'll cheat a little bit. There we go. Yeah, look at that. Even the Dow. Dow had sort of like pop, the spike, and right back down. But really, the NASDAQ is the one that's getting killed right now. Well, or not. It was. That's weird. Well, it's flat. It's totally flat. Okay, interesting. But yeah, if we go back, let's see here. It's been down. They say at least CNBC was running headlines. It's been down for the last 5 days in a row. But you don't really see that terribly. Let's look at the Russell. Russell's been down for the last 5. I don't know, maybe they were talking about the Russell. Because the NASDAQ's not moving down that far. But this has been down for the last 5. This makes sense. Oh, maybe I misunderstood that. Maybe it's the Russell and not the NASDAQ. Russell is generally more focused on small cap, recovery style stocks. All right. What do we got? Let's listen to Varnes for a moment.
All right. Good morning, everyone. It's 10 o'clock Eastern. Let's get straight to your money. Earlier this morning, we had a new record high intraday for the Dow Industrials. It's backed off along with the rest of the market. And now we're in the red for the Dow, in the red for the S&P, and the Nasdaq is down close to 0.2%. What's the yield on the 10-year Treasury? You have to look at that. It's down to 1.57%. Interestingly, big tech is not rallying on that news. When you've got the 10-year Treasury yield below 1.6, you tend to get a rally in big tech. Not so today. Apple, Amazon, Alphabet, Microsoft, all on the downside. Let me point out something here. Twitter just suspended Trump's new platform. Okay, got that? Twitter's banned him forever. Bitcoin moving higher. It's above at $57,000 per coin, and we're quoting Dogecoin right now at 59 cents. All right, Thursday morning, just after 10 o'clock Eastern, you know what that means? Ashley Webster has the mortgage rate story. Ash, good morning.
It's the highlight of my week. Good morning, Stu. Coming in, 30-year fixed on Freddie at 2.96%. Last week, it was 2.98%. Stu, that marks 3 weeks in a row now of under 3% on the 30-year fixed. Consumer income is up. Consumer spending is up. Great news for the home market. The only fly in the ointment, and it has been for a long time, not enough homes for sale, but the rates under 3%. We'll take it.
296, yeah, we would definitely take that. All right, now this. The president shows real vigor, real zeal when he's talking about taxing the rich.
All right, we're going to pull off the Biden convo there. Let's go ahead and listen to CNBC for a moment. And what do we got here? And then we'll jump back at the sticks.
COVID vaccine, $1.7 billion in revenue in the first quarter. They're now saying $19.2 billion is what they're forecasting for the year. They also had some news on their COVID vaccine. They saw 96% efficacy for the vaccine in teenagers ages 12 to 17. And they separately are saying they're going to start their filing for full approval of the vaccine in the United States this month. Now, on that patent waiver question, of course, this coming after President Biden said he supported the idea, and the U.S. Trade Representative said that they would work towards something like this. So many questions on the call for Moderna's CEO, Stéphane Bancel. He said this would take a long time to put into action if it can happen at all. Here's how he put it.
There is no mRNA manufacturing capacity in the world. This is a new technology. You cannot go hire people who know how to make mRNA. Those people don't exist. We saw the news last night, and I didn't lose a minute of sleep over the news during the night.
So, guys, Moderna's CEO is not worried about this, but Moderna's stock is taking a hit. It's down 8% now. Of course, it dropped yesterday on the news. After the market closed, we actually got some data on Moderna's booster shots, which look positive. And analysts saying, from what they said on the call this morning and those data last night, they do see a lot of durable revenue in COVID for the company. But this is really affecting all of these companies in the vaccine space. If you look at Novavax, which is expecting phase 3 data here in the U.S. soon for its COVID vaccine, CureVac, which is another mRNA player, which is expecting data soon, BioNTech, of course, which is Pfizer's partner, all of these stocks down about 7 to 9% on this patent news, guys.
Meg, in the meantime.
It's really incredible. It's one of those where you're certainly seeing this sort of like pullback on I think probably these the pharma stocks, mostly because of higher earnings multiples and sort of expectations for future growth. I still think there's some great opportunities in those companies. Not at these prices. I've been a big believer in wait for the whole like COVID season to go away, then consider companies like Pfizer and Moderna. Give it a few years. Maybe not even necessarily a few years anymore. That was something that I was more considering like May of last year. Like, give it a few years. Let the pump, unless you want to trade it, right? Let the pump come, and then the eventual sell off. Maybe that eventual sell off is now. Maybe this is just that lead off to where folks go, all right, that's it. We feel like COVID's over, and sell anything regarding to vaccines. And over time, these companies are still going to be phenomenal pharmaceuticals, but I think you're going to take a lot of the swing traders out who are in it for the ride of COVID. And so COVID goes away, you'll see a big compression there. A little bit of a recovery here on, for example, EXPI. EXPI, let's see, Lemonade. Lemonade's at 76. EXPI dropped to, was down 10% at one point. Now it's down about 5.55. MP, so a slight recovery here. MP, yeah, there we go. There's that recovery. MP Materials down also about 5.5 right now, trending towards the downside here. UiPath, UiPath's another one that kind of has been trending back to its IPO pricing. IPO day closed at $67, and well, that's literally where we are actually right now, $67. We've got Etsy, Redfin leading some losses today with UTime and BTX and Wayfair trying to push up here, although even Wayfair giving up some of its gains just this morning here. So then we've got Endeavor is up 3%. Peloton's trying to come back here, up 1.5%. Drop in the bucket relative to the market movements overall. And the indices barely down, down tiny little fractions. Yeah, I don't think I've ever stopped bringing up Palantir. I mentioned Palantir pretty regularly. I just see a comment here, but bring it up now. Sitting at 20.42. Also on a downtrend today, trying to find its bottom. Matterport at 11.51. Palantir has been trading a lot more in that like -1 to +1 territory, in that range there, kind of bobbing back and forth. And so it's maybe caught less attention because of that. Whoa, Snowflake is almost under 200. Ooh. When Snowflake first IPO'd, one of the things I said was I really want to see a 1 in the front of Snowflake. Excuse me. And we're about to get that. That makes me curious. That's another great company. Really good one. We want to pay attention to. All right, but there seems to be no shortage of opportunities to buy at the moment. All right, what else we got? Uber CEO demands bouncing back faster. Wonderful. What's Varn's got to say?
Various indicators sliding, especially the NASDAQ. Should I be worried?
Well, I think it's time for a pause. I mean, the market, obviously, since the pandemic has basically gone straight up in this recovery. Yeah. And it's getting tired. I mean, if you look at these major averages and go back a month, some of them 3 months, they've not made much progress. I think everybody knows how good the news is. The economy is off the charts good. Earnings have been off the charts. Expectations have been exceeded by record amounts. And a lot of stocks are kind of sagging. It's time for a rest. I don't think there's big downside as long as we have that huge momentum behind us. But I think lurking behind all this, Stuart, is also concerns, will interest rates start back up? All these shortages we're hearing about, will that lead to some inflation? And it has people a little jittery.
Look, there's a lot of people who watch this program who've got a chunk of money, possibly they're retired, and they're wondering, where should it go? At the moment, I think most of our viewers are heavily invested in stocks. Do you think they should keep it that way?
I do. I think stocks from here to the end of the year will beat cash and will beat bonds, but the pace of gains is not going to be what we've had. We've gotten spoiled in recent months, Stuart. It's like you buy it and it goes up, almost no matter what it is. But it's going to get a little harder from here. You're going to have to be a little more judicious in the kinds of things you hold. Not everything is going to go up. The cyclical part of the market will outperform the defensive. Some of these high growth stocks, if interest rates and inflation move up a little bit, they'll have a little bit of cloud over them. So it's not everything going to move up. It's more selection within the market.
You're very good at hand holding, Bob Dole, and we appreciate that. And we will see you again real soon. Thanks, Bob.
All the best.
All right. Susan's with us looking at movers, including Fox Corporation, the parent company of this network.
Yeah.
What do you have for
Some
us?
strong metrics here. So we saw a 7-fold increase in profits in the first 3 months of this year, drop in sales, but also a very interesting trend is that they are buying the online sports site Outkick Media. You know, Fox is getting bigger in sports betting. They have Fox Bets, and Outkick will help drive more sports traffic in the future as more states legalize online betting. Kellogg's, you pointed this out earlier. It's a winner today. Rice Krispies and other cereals having better sales and profit in the first 3 months of the year. And people still love their comfort food, and they're expected to sell more this year. Isn't that great? Now, Zynga, the mobile game maker, showing some signs of life here. Despite making a penny less than anticipated, they actually reported higher sales, and now they're raising their full year guidance on strong demand for its live gaming services. Zynga's a left behind type of games maker that we haven't talked about for a while. Also want to show you Norwegian Cruise Lines. They lost about $1.5 billion in the first quarter, slightly better than anticipated, actually. But overall bookings, and here's the bullish part, net of cancellations, according to the CEO, they were double the volumes during the previous quarter. So there might be some hopes of recovery in cruising. And Olive Garden owner Darden's being called an outperform this morning by Cowen, worth $164. You think there's going to be a recovery when it comes to these, I guess, the olive bread demand and maybe Italian food dining?
Yeah,
I don't know. I just
don't know. I wasn't expecting Vardy to actually give us an answer on that one either. So I'm like, no, let's pull back off this. So gonna be an uptick in demand in breadsticks at Olive Garden? What?
Allow free what we call marketplace order. So in other words, if you do self-delivery, you can list your restaurant and basically get that order for free.
Somebody from yesterday here, Ross, says, I checked the sell in May and go away thing. In the last 8 years, if you sold in May every year, you would have missed out on rises to November. Nice. Last 8 years, that's a good pattern. Thank you.
And more marketplace focused.
Tom, I wonder, what you make of right now of public transportation, which arguably is getting a lot of assistance in some of these rescue packages, certainly getting a big push from municipalities. Is there a sense that push to get people back on trains and buses and subways is a material headwind for Uber, at least on the ride side?
It's hard to say. I mean, I think it's unclear whether or not even post-vaccines people are going to be super comfortable getting into crowded subway cars, with wide variety of folks, diverse group of folks. I think we'll have to monitor it. I mean, I think that one thing that's interesting about this, this idea around regulation and the potential for rising costs as a result of it, is that I think it really it bites into a little bit of this kind of the long-term pitch that these ride-sharing companies made around eroding personal car ownership. Right? I don't think that rising costs related to driver classification is really an existential threat for the ride-sharing companies, but I view it as kind of like a TAM limiter, right? The higher the costs go, they're going to pass the prices on, and that's just going to reduce, I think, the use case, I guess, if you will, for ride-sharing.
Okay, we got to go. So Jason, very, very, very quickly, why is Peloton trading higher now?
Because I think this is overblown. This recall is mandatory, is not mandatory. I think most people who have this premium big treadmill want to keep it. It's a shame that, unfortunately, somebody used bad judgment and let their toddler get access to this. But I think most people will not participate in the recall. They probably will have to delay the launch of the new lower price treadmill to kind of retrofit this guard, but we think the stock is already discounting it, and we expect good results tonight.
All right, Jason, Tom, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Take a look at shares of At Home Group. It is resuming trade this afternoon.
All right, what else do we have here? So let's try Bloomberg for a moment. What do we got over here at the Bloomberg?
Yes, absolutely. We do agree with some of those commentary, and that's why we are positioning in clients' portfolio for more pro-cyclical and protect against some of that inflation. But we're not calling for high inflation. We're not calling for a regime change. As I said, we do think that some of this inflation is transitory, and sort of look for more of that inflation to get to about 2% by the end of this year.
When do I start positioning for a taper? How do I start positioning for a taper? What does it look like in my portfolio? How different does my portfolio look post-taper to pre-taper?
Yeah, we expect that the Fed will likely start to taper in early 2022, and we look for some sort of messaging from the Fed in the fall. As we know, the Fed is hyper focused on the employment market, and so we'll be watching those numbers closely tomorrow. But I would say that nonetheless, we are positioned from a short duration on equity standpoint. We do favor short duration equities and those sectors that are more likely to benefit from a higher yield environment like financials. So I think that that's the difference. Like shifting away from the more secular oriented sectors and more to those cyclical sectors and more interest rate favored sectors.
I just want to bring in some breaking news here, guys. BioNTech has been talking over the last couple minutes, saying that it's increasing vaccine manufacturing capacity for 2021, 2022. Guy, the idea is that the capacity is not the problem, or IP, I should say, intellectual property is not the problem when it comes to the actual ability to ramp up doses, as these guys try and put a stake in the ground here and say, no, let me keep my IP here.
Well, this is a company in particular that has pushed.
We're going to pull off this. Let's go back to the sticks. Let's see how things are moving right now. So Snowflake literally about to cross that 200 threshold. It feels like it's at 201.97. It hit a low of 200.23 there for a brief moment. We've got Redfin's almost back to the 40s. I mean, these are some incredible dips. Etsy at 161, also an incredible dip. $28 for EXPI. I mean, that's somewhere around $56 pre-split. Well, my initial buys on this were $41, but I definitely have some buys over 56. Wow, EXPI has just been getting whacked. A lot of real estate getting hit. The mortgage companies, the Redfin, the Zillow. It's just an industry-wide whack of real estate-related stocks. Despite really real estate being such a beacon of strength right now in markets, certainly real estate pricing, but also transactions. I mean, it's just easy to sell right now. Anybody can sell a home today. You just need to have a home to sell, and you win. It's crazy. CBOE volatility is shooting up a little bit here. It's up about 4.96% at the moment, with Peloton also trying to recover a little bit here, up 2.66% on the day. Does look like it hit 80 in the just under 80 in the pre-market here. Totally missed that. That was sort of what I was looking for. It was sub 80. I was looking for the stock to break sub 80. Generally, I don't have limits set, especially not for a pre-market. But looks like I should have. Oh well. Hydrofarm is at 1.77 to the upside. We've got Lowe's moving 0.8 to the upside. Starbucks 0.3 to the upside. No, not a lot of movers in the green here. It's really the red side. Even Ocugen here, and even the electric vehicle bus stocks that moved substantially in after hours, at least, on rumors of an electric bus targeted spending package, and that excitement did not last long in the after hours. Though it's coming. Look at that. Coinbase almost down to 250. Absolutely incredible. I mean, down 5% again today. This is one that ARK has been buying pretty substantially as well. So we'll see how this evolves. But yeah, big rotation out of, I mean, even Square just fell to the downside. Whoa, look at Square intraday. Square intraday started at 235-ish. And all of a sudden, we're now down at 222 again here. Some pretty lows here on the pricing front. We're hitting some new lows, I should say, as everything's kind of getting ratcheted down. But it's like somebody keeps ratcheting down over and over and over again. So, all right, let's see. What else do we have here? Oh, Paxos. Paxos, great company, by the way. They've got lots of things in the work for crypto. They're going to be going public soon. Stay tuned. People are going to go nuts for Paxos.
This is going mainstream. And so everyone's looking for the way they can create a way to create community and offer this asset class in a way they haven't done before. And at Paxos, we're doing that by being the infrastructure. And we're helping to power PayPal. But also, it's amazing the number of firms that are coming and really thinking about this in a strategic way. And I think that's a real important shift.
So one of the longstanding skeptical takes has been that price volatility was going to be a long-term inhibitor to payments and as a mechanism of payment because the price was swirling all around. At this point, how do you read that as a risk factor in the coming years?
Well, I think it's still not a payment mechanism. The reality is it's still very much about speculation and about the fact that it may become gold. And,
Wow.
you know,
That's actually incredible that the Paxos CEO is saying it's still about speculation. Just very quickly, I do want to mention here, Dow turning additionally to the downside here. You got the NASDAQ down now 0.65%. You've got the S&P down 0.44%. It does look like we're seeing volatility here right now, 4.4% again. Not at those all-time highs from a few minutes ago, but definitely still spiking again. Let's go back to Paxos though.
Really creating here in the case of Bitcoin is you have the possibility to own future gold. In the case of Ethereum, you have a chance to own the smart contracting layer that will re-platform the financial system. And that's what's driving the price moves here. And so that's a little bit different than thinking of it as a way that we're going to change payments today.
Yeah, Charles, it's Morgan. I mean, we're talking about Bitcoin, we're talking about Ethereum, we're talking about the possibility of stable coins, which I want to get into a little bit more in just a second. What about Dogecoin?
Yeah. Well, look, that one is really accelerated, and it just shows you there's a lot of community that goes into driving some of these tokens right now.
Yeah.
And you're in this period where there's like a Cambrian explosion of different coins doing different things, and then there'll be a weeding out process. You know, my sense is that we're not trying to pick the winners at Paxos. We're trying to build the infrastructure. It's hard to know how this is going to develop. A lot of it's going to be the market, you know, weeding out winners and losers based on community, functionality, reliability. There's so much that goes into how a coin will do over time.
You know, it's funny. Next week, I've mentioned this already, but I think Sotheby's has one work of art for its big auction, and they will accept, I think, Bitcoin or Ethereum. You know, is that a significant development as we start to see just more and more potential uses for these currencies?
I think so. I mean, you know, like I was mentioning before, I think it as a payment mechanism still very nascent, and it's still unclear exactly how it'll be treated, you know, by different types of regulators over time. But it's really obvious that it's creating a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of engagement, just as you had on, you know, Dan Schulman talking about how much millennials are attracted to this. And you're seeing that with NFTs, you're seeing it with real art. And so it's starting to become used for more than just speculation, but still that's largely what's driving it. And I think, you know, what is going on with Ethereum, which is re-platforming assets, that's why it's going up in such a big way right now. It's showing that it's not just about crypto, it's about how can you change the plumbing of the financial system, which obviously needs a whole upgrade here. And one way in doing that is with NFTs and artwork, having real world assets on a blockchain.
Really quick, I hope you won't mind. I've got just a couple seconds. I wonder how you think, you think the Fed's thinking on this is really evolving before our eyes?
I think so. You know, obviously China's pushing everyone to rethink this, but also it's really clear that having a digital dollar, which is a little different from having an electronic dollar, and that's not meant to be, you know, kind of esoteric about this, but the idea that you can create dollars that can move just like cash moves on a peer-to-peer basis, that is a big deal that can really change people's access to the financial system, and it can change the efficiency of the system. And those are things that really need to be addressed. And frankly, in order for the dollar to maintain its position, it has to maintain its technology and be upgraded in a way that will work in this new world. We're getting to a whole digital world. How can you have whole digital dollars? I think it's something that they're really focused on because it's gaining momentum a lot faster than anyone would have thought.
Right. Which is where our conversation began. Really smart, Charles. I appreciate it very much.
I mean, it's been incredible. The crypto revolution has been incredible, really incredible. Take a look at this, though. I find this so interesting. The Cambrian explosion. This was something he mentioned. He used this as a reference for crypto. And so the Cambrian explosion was an event 541 million years ago. Apparently, there's like some additional radiation or whatever in the world, or atmospheric changes or something. And you got this massive change in the rate of diversification, where all of a sudden it says here, the variety of life became much more complex and resemble that of today. And it all pretty much happened between that 13 to 25 million year period. And so if he's talking about a Cambrian explosion in like cryptos, it's almost kind of like he's talking about I mean, to me, I would look at that as like the big turning point where you're not just turning to massive growth ahead, but also to increasing complexity, increasing uses, increasing functionality. Maybe he sees that 2020 to 21 period as that Cambrian explosion for cryptos. He did also mention, though, that he thinks it'll also weed out a lot of the smaller coins. Who knows? Maybe those are the individual cells or small multicellular organisms that'll get weeded out and killed off, and then the other ones will blossom and mature. I don't know. It's interesting. Never heard that phrase before, especially in relation to cryptocurrency, but it's interesting. I'll give him that. VIX up almost to 5%. Wayfair has just given up all of its gains on the day here. Peloton is trying to hold on to some of the gains it's been creating. And by some of the gains, we're talking about 1.7% here. We've got Walmart up 0.5%. AT&T, oh my gosh, AT&T's at $32. But you do have Fastly declining with Rocket, Redfin, Etsy all behind. EXPI dropping 8. You've got Etsy, Redfin selling off pretty largely here. Invitae's down substantially over the last few days. It's just been down. Lemonade's at 75. Coinbase almost at 250, heading straight down. You've got Beyond Meat. Beyond Meat's at 115 now, accelerating losses again. Pinterest down another 4% again. Matterport's down 4%. Ooh, you got some big old moves to the downside here. Tattooed Chef is down 2.96%. Microvision down 2.21%. Tesla went from being up 1.2% to being down 1.69%. Lots of pain in this market. GNOG's down 1.37%. Qualcomm down 0.68%. Apple's down 0.2%. Yeah. You've got lots of ouchies. Plenty of buying opportunity, that's for sure. Jeez, but it is the dip that keeps on giving. All right, so what do we got? So that's Cambrian explosion talk. Do we have anything else going on at Bloomberg? Let's jump on over to Bloom for a moment. Cambrian explosion. There we go. Bloomberg. Let's listen in. Nope. Just snazzy music. Just snazzy music. It's incredible. Incredible market that we're in. Let's see. Varn's also on commercial. Okay, let's go to take a peek at the 10. Yeah, 10-year rotating down here with volatility in stocks. You actually see this rotation down. We're just at 1.559. Tomorrow is going to be a big day for this 10-year. I think if tomorrow the unemployment data smashes and comes in strong, maybe it'll be stable. Maybe the 10-year will be stable. If beyond smashing, it just absolutely destroys and unemployment comes in extremely strong, it's possible we'll see a bump in the 10 years here, which maybe that's sort of the beginning of a little bit of the sell-off that we're seeing today, the day before here. Although this red season has really been continuing since about February 19th. A lot of stocks been relatively straight down since February 19th. You do have AMC up about 1.89%, though it is back under $10 here. Nice movement here intraday as well. Wayfair still struggling to maintain some of its gains here, though consolidating a bit around that 4% right now. So let's see here. Anything else? Cloudflare following Fastly down substantially. Uber's down 7%. Some of the ones we haven't mentioned here. Gevo's back under $6. Nano Dimension is under $6.50. Snowflake's almost under 200. It's almost kind of like we're starting to feel like that March of 2020 again, where it's just like, wow, it's just more red. Something to definitely keep an eye on. All right, yeah, bonds still sitting at 1.559. Certainly higher than where we were November, December, January, but Not seeing any of that major acceleration growth. Let's take a quick peek here at the cryptos. See how our cryptos are doing. So we've got Bitcoin sitting at 57,300, Ethereum sitting at 34,900, and Doge. Not sure where the Doge would be. There it is, back to 61 cents. So it did sell down to about 59 there for a moment, but is recovering back to 61. And so we'll see how this evolves. Yeah, it almost makes you wonder if hedge funds are just shorting everything, which is certainly what it feels like, and they've been doing very well with that. But it makes you wonder if hedge funds have too few opportunities to include crypto in their shorts. Not saying they want to short, but certainly things that come under short pressure have the capacity for going down more. And we're seeing that across the board with not just SPACs, but tech, but also some recovery is selling to the downside. Here's Cinemark, Walgreens, Spirit Airlines, Rite Aid, the solar companies, cannabis is down. It's been a rough ride. So hold strong. This will rotate back eventually. Again, still thinking by September, October. We'll see. But anyway, I think that does it for today. Remember, in an hour and a half, we will delay the private course member live stream just a little bit so we can see Kevin O'Leary roast me on CNBC Make It. So make sure to check that out. CNBC Make It at 9 a.m. Thank you so very much for being here, folks. Appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one.